introduction, if you wanted to play it on acoustic guitar, of a tune, a really great tune called Huntin', Fishin', Lovin' Every Day by Luke Bryan. And we're going to examine it. It's a series of double stops where we have the top two strings plucked on the 3rd fret, on the B, and both the B and E strings. First finger's got to stay straight, while the other fingers have to they have to arch and go up and over the string underneath, so that we can let this string ring while this string is being hammered onto and fretted. So we've got this really nice double stop, but if I keep my hand like that, there's not much chance of me executing a clean hammer on. So what we're going to do is take a look at double stopping with a thumb on the back of the guitar neck and drop it down a little bit, so it'll help your hand kind of come out to the front of the guitar, and that will free up that'll free up the 3rd finger for that nice little hammer on fret 5 on the B string. You'll notice after the hammer on has been executed, both strings are still ringing. So you want to, even though this will work, that sounds great and it's totally passable, believe me. You can get away with many things. So we've got this 3rd fret on the 3rd fret on the B string, hammering on to 5th fret on the B string while that high E string is left ringing. Then we go back to where we started. Then we move down to the next string grouping, strings G and B. That's string grouping number 2. Let's say that we just take an aside for a minute. Let's say that we group the guitar into 2 string groupings. We have string grouping number 1, which is consisting of the high E and B strings, high E and B. Then string grouping number 2 into, if we're grouping into, again, 2 string groupings, they're contiguous strings, so they're side by each. You could have many types of groupings, or you could have string groupings 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You could also use string grouping 1, like with a string skip in there, so that would also be considered a 2-string grouping. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be string grouping number 1. For our purposes, we've got contiguous strings. They're next door to each other, one another, and we're continuing to move down to string grouping number 2 for the next little part of the lick. So we slide from, after we've moved beyond this, we're going down to the G and B strings again on the 3rd fret. This time, instead of hammering the 3rd finger on, we're going to hammer on the middle finger onto the G string on fret number 4. After we do that, we slide from fret number 2. We actually go ahead and change positions. Then we have this really cool, like, blues shape. Probably heard that before. So we have this really cool thing that we hammer onto. Then we slide up into it again. Then we play both strings again, and that turns into a slide, just this quick little slur down to position number 1. So we'll start on the G string, slide up from fret 2 to fret number 4, play fret 3 on the B string, then pluck both strings on fret 3 and frets 4 and 3, slide both of those tones down to position number 1. And then we have this really cool lick opening up onto the C chord. And its first finger, it's a pivot finger, hanging out on fret number 1, along with on the B string, along with the open G string, which is, our favorite situation, because it creates a really nice, clean, and clear tone, doesn't it? So we're going to take that happy little chord, and then we're going to hammer on fret number 2 on the G string with a 2nd finger, kind of like what we did up here, but a little different open position. After we do that, we're doing the hammer on, pluck, open G and fret number 1 on the B string again. Then we're moving down to the next string grouping down, 1, 2, 3 on the G and D strings. So it'll look like we're plucking the 2 open middle strings and then hammering on to fret 2 on the D. 2, 3. And we're finishing up. Oh, I'm a little out of tune. It's hot up here in Maine today. 2, 3. Then we end up on the G chord at the end of the G5. And you could use fingers 3 and 4. You know, it's kind of easy for me because it's what I'm used to. But you could easily use fingers 2 and 3 there. So 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. That's it. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe. It helps us out. Free ebooks are available, and we're going to continue to publish those, made available on the iTunes store, the iBook store. Look out for us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.